Are you tired of your mind running wild? That non-stop chatter, the racing thoughts, the emotional triggers that pull you off balance? Sounds familiar, right? What if I told you the path of calming your mind, healing your emotions, and finding real peace isn't about twisting yourself into complicated poses or sitting still for hours? In fact, you might already be on the path. Yes, even if you've never been to a yoga class. I'm here to show you how deep emotional work, feeling your feelings, releasing stored tension, and turning inward is exactly what the ancient yogis called the yogic path. So stick with me, you're closer to peace than you think. Step 1 is yoma, how you treat others. Early on, I started to notice that when I was reactive with someone, it had more to do with me than it did with them. That was a big aha moment for me. I started to see that my judgments, my outbursts, even my discomfort with certain people, they were actually coming from unhealed places inside of me. They had nothing to do with the other person. Now that's a hard thing to absorb, isn't it? It's so much easier to have it be the other person's fault. But taking responsibility for this naturally made me less reactive. I didn't need to memorize a list of moral codes or try to control my behavior. My behavior shifted because I started noticing. So as an exercise right now, has something triggered you in the last 24 hours? What happened? Who was involved? How did it feel? Really, how did it feel inside of you? What was the emotion? The second step on the yogic path is niyama, how you treat yourself. Deeper self-study took me back to my past. I realized that many of my reactions were echoes of experiences I had as a child. Those emotional imprints were still inside of me, waiting to be triggered. So I got proactive. I made a list of every childhood trauma I could think of, big and small, including humiliations, embarrassments, and resentments. Then, every night for several months, I used EFT, which is short for Emotional Freedom Technique, and I tapped through one each night to work through one at a time. That was when my mind started to quiet. I started to understand that the voice that had criticized and judged me and other people was my dad's judgment and criticism, which I had taken on with my own voice. I had never known a quiet mind before. It felt like I was living in a completely different reality. That voice that had criticized and judged me my whole life was no longer there, so I naturally treated myself better. If you're curious about how this turns into physical transformation, stick with me. Step 3 might surprise you. Steps 3 and 4 are called asana and pranayama. You might think of asanas as the poses done in yoga class, but for me, my posture began to change naturally as I released tension. After doing so much emotional clearing with EFT, I began to feel the physical sensations beneath the emotions. One day I realized that if I truly wanted to feel an emotion, like fear around making a phone call, I had to become completely still. So I stood at the kitchen sink and I held myself like a statue. No breath in or out, no movement. This stillness allowed me to focus intently on the sensations inside, to let the fear crescendo and then dissolve. Then I would bring the thought back and feel the fear again. Each time it would diminish a little bit until it was gone. Do you have a thought that scares you? Something simple, like being afraid of making a phone call? Can you feel where the fear is? Can you focus on that fear, on those sensations, while holding yourself completely still until you need to take a breath or something shifts? It gets easier with practice. This deep presence and stillness is a form of asana, the breath control that happens naturally when we hold still and focus inward. That's pranayama. It expands with practice. The posture improvements happened because the tension that was holding my body out of alignment was releasing. I didn't force myself into alignment. It was revealed from within. During this stage, I would also lie on the sofa and bring collective traumas to mind. Things like 9/11 that we all lived through. As I did this, deep releases would occur spontaneously. My body would move in involuntary ways. These are known as kriyas, and each one brought me deeper into alignment and awareness. The next step, the fifth step, is called pratyahara, turning the senses inward. This is the stage where we stop seeking outward and begin looking inward, a progression from the previous steps. We withdraw attention from the objects and place attention on the self. We aren't angry with others, we feel the anger within ourselves. We don't resent others, we feel the resentment inside of ourselves. We always bring it back to us. How do we feel inside when something happened? So did something trigger you in the last 24 hours? How did that feel? Really, name the emotion. Now feel it in your body. Where's the tension? Can you hold completely still and allow the tension, the sensations to be felt? Allow it to dissipate? This isn't about controlling the mind. It's about noticing. We don't force our thoughts to stop. We heal the memories and the emotions that generate those thoughts. And eventually, the mind quiets on its own. At this point in my journey, a deep wave of energy began to rise. Kundalini. It changed everything. It was scary, exhilarating, powerful. It burnt away deep tension I hadn't been able to reach on my own. When it subsided, my third or inner eye opened. I could not have reached the next level without this awakening. It was clear to me that something enormous happens between steps 5 and 6, something the traditional model often overlooks. Let's call it the fire of awakening. The next step, step 6, is dharana, or concentration. Now I could put my awareness inside my body, sensing tension that had lived there for decades. I would find it, focus on it like a laser beam, hold my breath and my body still, and feel it until it released. And when it did, I could move my awareness deeper and do it again. This is concentrated awareness, sustained sensing. If you'd like to get a glimpse of dharana, try this. What does your right knee feel like right now? Put it in words. Have you done that? Good. Now, did you notice that just before you put it in words, you went inside your knee to see what it felt like? That was you sensing. You were out of your thinking mind and in your sensing mind. Now, imagine holding that attention without needing to describe it, without language, just awareness. That is dharana. Step 7 is dhyanu, meditation or sustained awareness. After dharana is developed and awareness can be sustained for longer periods, still only seconds, then sometimes a flash of memory or emotion will arise and disappear. It's like I see the reason this tension formed in the first place, and then it lets go. Going back to the exercise we did about something that triggered you in the last 24 hours, did you focus on the tension while holding completely still and just allow the sensation to be felt? As you did that, did you notice if a memory popped into your mind? If so, that memory will be related in some way. You can then, if you choose, work through that memory. What I'm talking about here in this step is similar to that, but focusing on tension directly in the physical body, in the tissues or bones, rather than the sensations of emotions. It's an understanding that arises from within, not from thinking or analyzing, but from being fully present with the tension. This is dhyanu, uninterrupted, deep awareness. The last step, step 8, is called samadhi, for union or absorption. I am not here yet, but I believe I know the direction. I describe it like this. Consciousness lives in one place inside my head. I believe it's the body of the sphenoid bone. That's the area I sense from. Awareness is what I extend outward. Like a garden hose, consciousness is the faucet. Awareness is the water that comes out the end. Diffuse awareness is like a garden spray, but the focused awareness needed to release tension in the tissue is like a thin, sharp jet of water. Right now, I can send awareness into many places inside my body, but I can't yet put my awareness into the place it originates from, back at the faucet. Too much tension remains still. But I believe when I can, that would be samadhi. Once I can rest my awareness in the place I am aware from, the cycle will complete. So here's the truth. The ancient yogic path isn't just about fancy poses or silent meditation. It's about you feeling your emotions fully, noticing your body's tension, and tuning your awareness inward to quiet the noise in your mind. This path works because it meets your busy, restless mind where it is. It doesn't ask you to stop thinking or force you to sit still. Instead, it helps your mind naturally calm as you process what's been stuck inside, emotionally, physically, and energetically. If you've been walking this path through your own emotional work, through EFT, or simply through feeling your feelings, you're already practicing ancient yogic wisdom. You're learning to be present with yourself, release tension, and find deep, lasting peace. You don't need a yoga class. You just need to keep going. To help you understand the steps from a different perspective, you can download my free PDF, The 5-Step Process to Profound Inner Peace, from my website, anhints.com. Please subscribe and watch some videos to deepen your understanding. Your busy mind can settle, your heart can open, your spirit can be free, and it all begins with the courage to feel.